The voice in your ears and the face on your screen. I'm Perfect Purpose, and this is Pro Football Sweden, presented by Rare Athletics. This is our inaugural season talking football in Sweden, so feel free to comment and send messages on how we're doing. Today, I'm joined by my co hosts, Jallo Juice and Antoine Allen. What's going on, fellas?
Was good.
What's up, man? Seems like it's been a while.
It has not been. It has been about the same amount of time as it is every week. We've been out
Too
here.
long.
What episode is this? Like
That-
13?
yeah.
Hey guys, we've been out here for 13 weeks, just so y'all know, putting this on for
And I
Sweden.
miss y'all every week when I don't see y'all. Whole week.
Well, thanks to our partners at American Football in Finland, Improved Athletes, and Pro Football Sweden, the PFS podcast is available everywhere you listen to your podcast, and you can see us here visually on YouTube. Wherever you listen or watch, be sure to like, follow, and subscribe. Now let's get into some football, fellas. Before we get in the first quarter energy, just want to put the disclaimer. Got a little allergies going on, so you might hear me sniffling, nose running a little bit. Might have a little tissue in my paper in my nose. I don't care. I got to make sure I can live out here. You know, this Texas body not built for this, but in Finland, we got warm weather, pollen in the air, and it's killing me. So I apologize in advance to anybody that can hear me sniffling or see me with a tissue in my hand. So let's get into the first quarter. Let's talk energy from last week's games. What was positive? What was negative? Juice, start us off. What was positive for you?
Yeah, before I go into the positive and negatives, I do want to address a fellow teammate who passed away from Karlstad. He passed away from epilepsy. His name is Yoke. Really good heart, really good spirit, very passionate guy. He cared a lot about football. Even though he wasn't the greatest football player in the world, he still showed up. He still was a person that you had to give respect to. And I just want to say, rest in peace, Yoke. Back to the podcast with a positive and a negative. I have two positive that I wanted to mention. It was good to see new faces on the football field, new players. When I was watching the Stockholm game, I thought Omar Fall just got some swag, changed his football number, and was just booming people. And you was at the game, and you
Yeah,
probably
yeah, I was there, and people were saying like, "Oh, look at Omar out there," and I kept saying, "That is not Omar. That is someone else. That is black with dreads. It's a
yeah,
different jersey number. His body type is similar, but he's a little bit bigger than Omar is. But I can understand how people got confused. A lot of people were confused, thinking that was Omar in the game.
yeah. I pulled that white people card. I just assumed the same thing, but all black people look alike,
I
But
mean, you got all the hair hanging out the helmet. I guess it's the same guy. It's got to be. And we've seen Omar there for so long. You just
mhm,
assume it's him, right?
yeah, I thought it was him. But another positive I want to say is that when I was watching the game, I see a lot of teams playing like teams. Like the chemistry is looking a lot better. I mean, of course, there were some donuts out there, but you see teams looking like football teams. Over to the negative, Limham Griffins, that stream. I'm out there breaking my neck. I'm getting seasick. I feel like I was on the boat going from Stockholm to Albu, Turku. My neck is just like, man, I don't know what's going on.
It's not even like the stream quality. It's literally whoever's holding the camera is holding it like this, and then swiping that thing, and then swiping it back, and then swiping that thing, and swiping it back, and then not knowing where the ball is. It's just like, come on, guys. There's got to be somebody in the Malmo area who understands football enough and doesn't have a lazy eye. I guess I don't know. Like maybe they got a crook in their neck, and that's just they think it's straight, but it's not. I know. I don't know if they do it on the cameras, but I know like on my iPhone, whenever I get ready to take a picture, it has this little line and it'll be off, and I'll just straighten that thing. Like there's got to be something to help them
Your phone
straighten
does
that.
that?
Yeah, it does that. It has a little thing like like when I ready to take a picture, it has little lines that are off, and if I
Yeah.
straighten it, it goes like perfectly.
I don't take any photos on my phone. I only do videos. I'm a video guy.
I like taking photos. I'm old school. At some point in my life, I'm gonna have like well, in the next like 10 years, I'm gonna have like all these like photo books of everything, like all the things I've seen. So when young people come by, like grandkids and stuff, I just flip through, be like, this is what I did back then. Cause I don't know how you do it on your phone. Whenever someone comes to me with a phone and like, oh, let me show you a picture from 3 years ago, I'm like, the hell you know where to find that on your phone? Like it's too
You can go to
hard.
years. You can go to the years, and then it's like the
Yeah,
exact.
you
I
can do
mean,
something like that.
it just seems so like random and like specific. Like, how do you like something that happened to me 3 years ago? I don't know what month it happened. The albums go by like months. I had to go to the year. I think it was autumn or maybe it was fall. And by that time, you know, what you doing? What you doing? But you come to the crib like, hey, I got this book right here. This is everything that happened during this year. Hey, let's flip through. Let's reminisce. And I don't know why this is what I'm talking about. This is way off topic.
Let me get back to my
Yeah,
last negative. My last
yeah.
negative, and I'll be quick with this. If I'm Roy Kelly on my
Mm,
fake punt for a touchdown, I'm finding that guy. So I try to look for his number. I couldn't find it. You owe me a kebab, two of them.
two
You got
kebab.
touchdown. Yeah, my touchdown call back, and
Mm,
I can go meet Roy Kelly. We can have a little fika at the kebab
mm.
spot and take the other kebab. But that's my positive and negatives.
What about you, Antoine? What was positive for you from last weekend?
Teams are playing football. I mean, I don't
Mm,
really got too many positive. I mean, the teams are settling to who they are and what they are. So it's just it's just football at this point. So yeah, it was just good to see the teams out there playing. But the negative, like it was rough for me getting through these games. It was a drag. I'm not gonna lie. Even watching it on like 2 days later and like fast forwarding through all the plays and stuff, it was still like a drag for me. I was falling asleep. I was like, dang, these games are boring as hell. So yeah, that's kind of the negative, I guess.
I mean, I agree with you. I feel like you said the same positive and negatives I was gonna say. Like, I don't ever think about what I'm gonna say before I do this segment, but I'm gonna go. I think I'm gonna go with the negatives first, and then try to finish on on a positive note. Negatively, the games are just. I feel like they're boring, yes, but they're boring because kind of what you guys said for the positive is that it's boring because these teams kind of know who they are, they know what they want to do, and they're sticking to that. And for
Mhm.
me, that's a negative because the season is almost over, and it doesn't seem like people understand that. You have 2 weeks left of games, and teams are playing like there's a whole nother half. This isn't Finland. There is no 2 games. Like this is it, and teams are playing like, all right, let's get through this game. We got 3 more. You don't have 3 more weeks. There's 4 teams fighting for 2 spots, and all these teams have one win and stuff. So there should be some sense of urgency, and you're not seeing that. Personally, I was at the AIK versus Stockholm game. As you can see, AIK took care of me. I appreciate that. That was a positive. A positive that I'm going to talk about is the AIK game that I went to. Their crowd was very much into the game. Like they had a lot of support out there. Shout out to my homegirl Linda for hooking me up at the concession stands because they did not take cards. They only took Swish. I'm not from Sweden. I don't have no damn Swish. I don't carry Kronas. Like I was like, man, so I ain't gonna get nothing. And Linda was like, I got you. And I was like, appreciate it. Much love to her. Appreciate that. Same thing from a lot of the people that are involved with AIK, the support staff there. I talked to a lot of players outside the game before and after. They're really like all bought in on the team and what they can do and what's possible. And they're also very, what is it, open minded about understanding where they are in the league at this point. So, very, I mean, they're not as stubborn as I assumed that they would be to have a shirt that says AIK versus everybody. And also, if you are from AIK, you want one of these shirts, hit up Josh Akina because he's selling them out the back of his trunk. And, I appreciate that hustle.
Oh,
But
that's where he's at with it. Okay,
yeah, yeah, out the back of his
okay.
trunk. I want to say
Snap a cash, snap a
it,
cash coming up.
200, 250 kronas, that'll get you a shirt. That's, I mean, shameless plug for him. Go get you an AIK shirt. These shirts are nice. They're dope. They run a little tight. This is an extra large. I'm a large, but it is what it is. But he'll get you the right size. He asks you what size you wear, and he'll tell you what you need. So that's pretty cool. And we did PFS. We did a couple of interviews at the game. That was pretty cool as well because both teams were really appreciative of us being there to do something because obviously there's not a lot of media like that in Sweden. I think football in Sweden, one, has embraced us from the PFS podcast, and I appreciate that. And secondly, I think that the sport and the teams are getting comfortable with what's going on. And when I say that, I think they have to get comfortable with the fact that we're going to put, exposure on you that you haven't had before, but also we're going to hold you to standards that you're not accustomed to. And people are responding in kind. People are responding saying, hey, if you're going to hold us to a standard, when you're on the podcast, you got to, make sure you talk about everything that happened. Don't just, point out what you like and who you don't like. I made it clear that, I'm a Stockholm Mean Machines fan. And like, oh, so you gonna get on the podcast and just talk about the meme machine? No, I spent my whole little positive, negative thing talking about AIK today. I can be bought, as I've said before. I can be bought. I went to AIK and they was like, hey, we're gonna show you a good time. And they did, and I appreciate it. And you can hear I didn't say nothing about their football team though, because I'm not gonna lie. I ain't gonna sit here and lie. That's for sure ain't gonna happen. But as a team and organization, I mean, great team, great organization. I liked how the vibe was similar to what you guys say. Like they're a team now, and I was really pleasantly surprised, and I enjoyed it, and that was positive for me from the weekend.
So they gave you good hospitality, is what you're saying?
Yeah, yeah, and that ain't easy to get for a black man in Europe, okay? Especially in the Nordics. Like I've been here long enough to know that ain't something I get everywhere I go. And AIK made sure to take care of me, and I appreciate that. And I'm very appreciative of that. And I can't say appreciate enough. That's all the energy I got. And as you can see, I'm exuding it. So let's get on with the actual show now. Second quarter, where we talk about top performers, which is brought to you by Rare Athletics, apparel and accessories made for players by players. More than just accessories, Rare provides custom jerseys for teams all over Europe. So head over to their web shop at rare.se and upgrade your drip today. Let's talk about a couple of guys who stood out from last week's games. Antoine, you can start us off. Who tickled your fancy this week?
The Oslo Vikings, really. Their whole offense and defense, they're looking a lot better. As we said, they started off the season going 0-4. They kind of went through the gauntlet, but now it looks like they got their iron sharpened a little bit. So now they're looking more cohesive as a team. So yeah, Sewell on defense, obviously he had 12.5 tackles, 4 tackles for losses and an interception. CJ Fowler did this thing out there, 3 touchdowns. Matthew Snodder, only 4 receptions, but he had 2 touchdowns, and then their running back had like 150 yards, I think, and a couple of touchdowns. So they were out there doing their thing.
What about you, Juice? Who stood out for you?
Yeah, it seems like it's the same old people standing out all the time. Karlstad. I just love the Karlstad linebacking core. They're so physical. What I mean? Popping guys in the mouth. Matthias Eriksson just did his thing. 14 from Tyresö, I wrote down. I'm trying to think. It's like, man, how long ago did I watch that game? I like seeing that. For Stockholm, Casper had a great game. I like how Johan stepped it up. He still got some rawness that he has to work on, but he did a good job. Number 3, I haven't learned his name yet. At cornerback from Stockholm, I like how he was playing. He was very physical, booming guys on kickoff. To be honest, all the running backs for Stockholm did a really good job. Tyresö's defense, did a pretty good job. And I was just say I wanted to throw one person for AIK, their punter. That boy was booming the ball. They need to put this guy on the national team. He was the best player on the football field for AIK. Their punter.
When you punt as much as they do, you're gonna get better.
He got a lot of reps. A lot of reps.
Now they was going for some 4th downs, bro. Some 4th and shorts, but that punter was like, man, I better put this best guy on the field. I'm gonna put it inside the 10, maybe inside the 5. He did before.
Yeah,
those are my ones that stood out. There's more people, but I'm gonna just stick with those.
Okay, I got 3 guys. I think first guy I want to talk about, Will Van Kamp. Your boy was out there, like he was I don't know how many targets or catches. I have not looked at stats. I already tell y'all I don't really care about stats like that. But I know this much. Number 4 was getting the ball. Number 4 was catching the ball. And early in the game, he was making some tough catches, some in traffic, like I don't know why you threw that type catches. And he was coming out with it. Like he was falling on the ground, reaching in spots, taking it from defenders, like very good catch. And then later in the game, he was just wide open catching the ball because he created separation. And I don't know like if he had any touchdowns. I don't even remember, but I don't care because I saw number 4 making a lot of plays, and that really stood out to me that he has become their go-to receiver. You know, we've said it before that they have a very good receiving core between Will Van Comp, Krippe, and Alvin Forsman. Those are 3 really good receivers, but it's apparent now the number 4 is the go-to guy. You get him the ball by any means necessary, and he shows up. So that was really good to see this week, even though, you know, Örebro's defense isn't great, but he was really dominating at the receiver end. Another guy I got on here is another receiver, Oslo's receiver, number 15. I looked up his name just so I could see it. Nicholas Fingler. He had on like a knee brace or something. Another guy who got a lot of targets, and he made a lot of like tough catches for them. And it was good to see them have somewhere to go with the ball outside of the American receivers. And he just really had a really good game. I just kept noticing number 15, number 15, number 15 as they kept moving down the field. And so, again, that sticks out to me when someone can consistently get open and catch passes, no matter who you're playing against. That's not easy to do because we've said it. I don't know if we said it like on air before, but we said it before that these Swedish receivers aren't that consistent. So when one of them is consistent, you'll get a shout out from me. Last guy that I have is, I think this guy is new. I'm not sure. Number 13 from Karlstad Crusaders, cornerback Strahinja Stepovic.
Yeah, he's the receiver that they got. He's playing both ways. So I was going to say, man, you forgot one of the other receivers. He's going both ways, but
okay, that's
he's
what I'm
making
saying.
a lot more plays. He's making a lot more plays on defense as well, and he's actually throwing his body in there for weeks to weeks. And he's not like some big corner.
Yeah, that's
he's tall. He's tall, but he's not like he don't got guns like me. You know.
I'm glad you said that because I was going to say I thought he was playing receiver, and then I see him at corner. I think he had a pick, and he had a couple like really good like just head up plays. Like he adjusted. He reminds me of, I don't want to say this and sound too cocky, but he reminds me of an American type of player where he wasn't necessarily always playing his responsibility. He was playing the ball. So he made some plays that you don't coach that, you don't teach that, but a player makes a play. And that's what he did. And that stands out to me because that's something that you can't really coach or teach it to somebody. You just got to, they got to have it. A lot of times you see him pass off a route because he knew that the concept wasn't for that player and he jumped the concept. I mean, obviously, as we get into higher level football, you can beat that, but he was doing something no one else was doing because that's how he ended up getting the pick. That's how he ended up like almost destroying a running back on a swing route earlier or something like that. But if he's playing both ways, he's in damn good shape too. So looks really good out there. Those are the guys that stood out to me, top performers from last weekend. Anyone else y'all want to throw out there because we only have one game to talk about this week. So
I think it's number 5 for Aikor. I think like he stood out. I think he also recovered the punt. He made a few quite tackles. I mean, I'm trying to think. There was more people. Adam, from Kukonstad, he was doing a good job. Number 11. He brought some juice. That reminded me. He had some juice on the football field. Number 11 for the Predators. But I want to move forward to the next part. I don't know how long I want to stay on this part.
I'm gonna add a little bit here today because
go ahead. Do you think
one game? But first thing I'm gonna say is I forgot to say a negative earlier that K-Town's stream is a huge negative because I can't see anything. As you heard, I didn't say anything about the Predators or TSO because I watched the first half of the game and I have no idea who anybody was. All I know is the blue team, was it the blue team and the white team? Like whatever colors they were, That's all I saw. I couldn't see any numbers. I couldn't tell who anyone was. I know that Jacob Stenberg played quarterback. He played pretty good in the game.
Yeah, he was a good quarterback.
Yeah, he played really good. Like I felt like he was just as good as when they normally have their other quarterback, except he had more receivers to throw to because he didn't focus on just one himself. But other than that, I can't even tell you who was catching the ball. I can't tell you who was on the other team because I couldn't see anybody's jerseys, numbers. All I could see was bodies because the film was so far away. So I basically wasted 2 quarters watching that game because I couldn't tell who anyone was. And obviously I'm not listening to the stream. I don't speak Swedish, but it's just really unfortunate is they had the camera so far away that I couldn't see anything. It was worse than the Limham Griffins film. Because at least with the Griffins, I could turn my head. For the K-Town ones, and then one time they literally skipped a touchdown.
Yep.
Someone scored a touchdown. They just put up the word touchdown. I'm like, what the?
Yes.
I want to turn this off right now.
Yeah, I did see that. And speaking of touchdowns, Matt, I wrote this in the chat. Like Stockholm's 5th touchdown, bro. I don't think that guy scored. I don't think he scored.
I mean, after
you probably wasn't even paying attention at that point.
Yeah, after they scored like 3, I wasn't really, even caring if they scored. But you never know.
Oh my goodness! No, I forgot to shout out Edvin from Örebro. He was playing lights out on the football field. Lights out.
Nah, he did a celebration too early because he made Jarman fumble the ball and then he was celebrating and he didn't realize he was back in the
I remember that as well.
Stay in the game.
Yeah.
When because he hit hard, and I know I'm like, bro, you hit him hard. So like, I would be looking like, hold on, let me just double check and make sure I didn't make anything.
I'm sorry, Evan, that I let that go by because I'm looking at my notes and I'm just trying to go by people, but he was booming. Murphy, had a great play versus Von Kahn as well, getting the ball out. Like that is normally a catch for him. And and it was a play that Vasey, Vasey did, a decent job. But I felt the energy of Vasey in one part in the game because the guy just was not ready. And the players he didn't know what his job was. And it was like he was just about to yell at him. I was like, bro, I feel you on that, bro.
Yeah. You can tell he's more upbeat and his teammates just not getting it. Again, sense of urgency. You're trying to get into the goddamn playoffs.
That's what I felt. For them, I'm just like, y'all from the scoreboard, you would think, oh, they just ran away with this game. But when I'm watching, I'm like, you're right there. You're moving the ball. You're there. Come on, you gotta start.
Could have won. Örebro could have won this game. It was close enough for them to win.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this game a little bit because again, we have a little bit of time on this episode. And in this game, one thing that really stood out to me was the fact that Örebro's defense didn't play bad.
No.
Okay,
they forced like 4 turnovers, I think.
They forced a lot of turnovers and gave their offense a chance, but their offense did nothing.
Can we talk about that drop?
Go ahead. Talk about it.
That shit was right in your hands, my man. You had the ball.
Who was it that dropped it?
14.
Number 14.
Now you're back to a number. I don't even care about your name no more. You're back to a number team. Number 14.
But 14 had a decent game though. It's just that one play.
I know. But I feel like right then in that moment, the ball in your hand, you fall into the ground. Only pull it in, hug it because you're in the end zone. Just hug it tight. You fell on the ground. Ball came out. I was like, what the hell? Come on. But then it was moments like that. Like they had great field position. They're forcing turnovers. They're getting the ball. They're moving the ball. And I'm just like,
how many red zones did they not score in? Like they were in position to win the game.
I mean, they had one in the beginning of the game. Like the beginning of the game, they had the kickoff return, recovery.
Right there in the red zone.
The momentum right there could have shifted from the start, from right there in the game. If they take that fumble, they capitalize on it and they score some points. Momentum shifting because it was 7-0 for the longest time
until like third quarter. Fourth quarter, like, still 7-0.
And then they had more opportunities where if they score in that first drive, and then I think they got like another fumble or something like that, and they were in the red. Or no, they was moving the ball and they were in the red zone again. And I'm just like, there you go. Now's your chance again. So they were in the game.
And what they missed like 2 field goals as well. Again, in a situation like this, obviously you don't want it to come down to field goals, but the long one before the half, yeah, you're not gonna make that. You're just trying
Yeah.
something. But the other one was a 30, 40 yarder. Like you gotta when you playing a team like the Crusaders, you gotta get what you can because the Crusaders defense is good. So you knew you're gonna be in that situation. You gotta try to make something happen out of that. And even if I think the Crusaders doing the fake punt, that situation that Örebro should have done at some point. You got to
Yeah.
fake until you make it. They went for it on a lot of fourth downs though, so I guess that's them trying.
Yeah, but I get like for me, you could tell when Basie kind of gets like uncomfortable because he starts to resort back to like the long scrambling and the going backwards versus forward. I'm just like, in this game against this team, you don't have that luxury of like, oh, I could probably scramble out of this, or I can drop back like 15, 20 yards, and then I'm just like, nah, you can't have that. Like you just gotta, if you're just gonna get tackled anyway, or you're just gonna get an intentional grounding call anyway, take the sack.
Yeah.
Just take the sack or try to scramble beforehand.
Take the sack. Who trying to get hit?
I mean, you gotta get sacked.
He's trying to get hit.
I mean, look, I'd rather get sacked and lose 5 yards than try to scramble backwards and then turn around and get an intentional grounding call and then lose 15. Especially in the game like this.
Or sometimes he can just scramble forward and just run.
That too, but he don't do that. Well,
no, sometimes there's space, and he got some deceptive speed.
I know. So that's why it's just like just run. Just run. That's why.
Here's the thing. No matter what we say about Örebro, like that offense, they were able to move the ball.
Yeah.
But they were not able to score. They weren't able to get anything from moving the ball.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, and look, I ain't want to do this. I ain't want to have to go out and do this, but I might have to. In my opinion, if a team can move the ball, but they can't score, it's on the coaches. That's how I feel about it. That's me personally, because I feel like once you get to that area where, okay, the field is shortened, the defense has the back of the end zone to help them, you have to come up with the right plays to get into the end zone. There's not a lot, like when you have the whole field, you can scramble around, somebody can break a tackle, you get all the way down there, but now that's not going to happen. You don't have that kind of time. Like there's only so much space, and you have to actually have a game plan for when we get in the red zone, what we're going to do. We can't just throw phase. We can't just run the ball. We can't run the ball at all against this defense. That defense did not allow them to run the ball. Every time Eklund got the ball, he had to juke a guy after the handoff, which immediately after that, Matthias Eriksson and the whole gang was there. They chasing the ball. Like that's not going to help. So once you got in the red zone, your run game that's not going to happen. And now your pass game, which is more predicated on a little bit of movement and getting it downfield, you can't do that. There is no downfield. So now you have to be precise. You have to be strategic. That's where good coaching comes in. And I think that, again, I ain't trying to call nobody out. Like I ain't in the locker room. I'm not doing the film study of blase. But at this point, from what we're saying and what we've seen from this team, they don't have the strategy for when they get close of this is our go-to play. In this situation, this is what we're going to do. In this situation, this is what we're going to do. And we're going to get these points. They get down there like, oh, shit, can't believe we got down here. What are we going to do? I don't know. And that's what happened. And that's the difference between these two teams. When you looked at Karlstad, they didn't have a great game, but they had a plan. You could see it, and they stayed with their plan. They even had a plan to do a fake punt. I mean, that's a plan. And if you have a good plan and your players execute, you end up with the game that they had, where eventually they just ended up scoring a lot more points because eventually it will work out if you have a plan. While that other team, the Black Knights, they didn't have a plan. I just think that that's what we've seen all season from them, is that offensively they're relying a lot on their players' talent and hoping it works out compared to having a plan and a strategy in place so that their players can be successful. That's what this game was. And shoot, we hit that 30-minute mark, so I'm good now. We can talk about something else or move on if y'all want to.
Two more things. But 19, Adam crossed his little pick six at the end. You know, that was cool that they ended 2 games back-to-back with a pick six. Then Elias Rollingquist. Sheesh, my guy. You gonna get fired, bro, from returning kicks? Because he's an amazing athlete. Like,
I
good
know.
enough. I love the ball in his hands, but
I'm gonna tell Elias because I know him a little bit. Get your head in the game. Get your head out the gutter. Get your head in the game.
I think it was just the end of the season vibes. You know, it's the last game of the season, and they were just like, "Hey, man, let's just go out here and get the win. That's all that matters." And I think that mindset kind of shook him up a little bit. But you know, it's the end. And I don't.
nah, it's been like 3 weeks in a row.
Yeah, not yet.
Catching kicks ain't easy for everybody. Everybody not Alpha Jalo, man. Everybody can't.
I mean, understand punts are hard. Punts a little bit because it looked like it's coming one way. Then the last second, when his nigga body's going somewhere else. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
but
true.
So can we talk about AIK?
I thought I already did. Love those.
No, you talk good about AIK, and you talked about their hospitality. You didn't talk about the football team.
Oh, okay. Let me put my shirt down. Hold on. I get this off the screen.
Hide that. Duck the cover. No, I was like, what? Like, so right now they're in the 6th seed. They got 2 games.
Oh! I wanted to talk about the standings after the break. Let's hit a break and then talk about the standings. That's cool.
Yeah.
Third quarter, we're supposed to talk about keys to victory, but we're gonna bump that for a little bit, and we're gonna start with the standings because we're 2 weeks out, and the playoffs are about to go. So, Antoine, you're already about to start talking about it, so just jump into it, man. That's fine.
Yeah. So I was about to say AIK they're in the 6th spot right now.
Yeah.
They're one of the team. Well, they're the only team that has 2 games left. I think they have Örebro, and then I think they have Oslo, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, Örebro then Oslo.
Do you think they can lose their seeding in the playoffs? Because I do.
Of course.
I could pencil them in for either 7 or 0 points for both of these games because they don't score on offense.
But neither do the Predators.
They score more than.
Well, they give up more too. I'm looking at the plus minus for Predators and AIK. AIK is -99. Predators -30. -130.
The Predators played more games than that. Well, yeah, one extra game, but like
one extra game. Is that going to be? That's a 31 point difference.
Yeah,
so they'd have to get beat 31-0.
Well, they did. They got beat 46-2 against Costa.
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. Like the teams that they're playing, are they going to be able to put up those type of points?
They're playing the Griffins. The Predators' last game is against the Griffins.
Right. So one of those teams are going to probably get
one of those teams to get the 6th seed. Even if AIK wins one of these games, and let's say Predator wins against the Griffins, the Predators will still take that playoff spot because the Predators beat AIK in their game.
Exactly. That's what I'm thinking. But then again, I don't know if the Predators going to. I mean, that's the different method they go about when it comes to it. But
this last game, the Predators versus the Griffins is going to be ugly. It's going to be an ugly game.
And because it's in Skåne too.
Yeah.
It's in Skåne. So that's like their own little derby.
I don't like any of them teams to make the playoffs.
Well, one of them is in there.
Can we just go with 5? These Division I teams masquerading as Super Serien teams. I don't like it. I said it, and I meant it. Like we've seen it. Like this is what it looks like. It looks like there's the 4 Super Serien teams. Then you have Oslo Vikings, who they went 0-4 against the Super Serien teams.
Yeah,
it looks like they're finna mop up those other 3 teams. Yeah. And then those other 3 teams. We're literally looking at the schedule right now. Someone's gonna make the playoffs with 2 wins.
Yeah,
2 wins is gonna get you in the playoffs.
Well, we said it at the start of the season. We was like, it's only going to take 2 wins to get in.
I thought it was going to be at least 3. Like right now, it's at 2. If the Vikings lose, they're still going to make the playoffs.
Yeah, but I think they're going to win. They've just been playing these 2 victories. They're just
they only have AIK left. They can beat them.
The Vikings are going to go on a win streak. You know.
Yeah, and I think the Vikings have the potential because. They're in the 5th seed right now, so it'll be 4 versus 5. I think they can beat Örebro in a rematch.
Wait, that would be the first game for them?
Yeah, that'll be if the Black Knights stay in 4 and the Vikings stay in 5, they play each other the first round of the playoffs. 4 versus 5.
To my understanding, I thought the first 2 teams got a bye.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, they do until the semifinal. So that's
so it'll be for right now. If we look at it, it'll be Mean Machines versus AIK, then
Yeah.
Black Knights versus okay. Yep.
Yep. But that's
So-
interesting. So all the teams except for Costa, because Costa's in number one, they're good. All the teams have something to play for. So if you're Stockholm versus the Royal Crowns, you're playing for that. You're playing for that
for the bye.
For the bye. You're playing for the bye week, so you got something to play for. So the loser of that game will definitely be playing another game, and then they'll play.
Stockholm needs it more than Tiraso does because they're still trying to figure out their quarterback situation.
Exactly. So
I think that quarterback situation is. I think they're gonna have to go with just Johan, because if they got the other American playing cornerback, they don't have room for another one, unless they just don't play him. They just say, okay, you're not playing this week. Maybe I don't know what Pillback's thinking. We don't have the college and NFL analysis. Like, yo, so what's the report?
I'm not in their DMs like that. I don't have the time. But I don't know how their situation is going to be. But even if they do have it figured out, they would love to have more time to prepare than the teams. So that bye week is very important because that's going to help them, put in more stuff as well as be able to see who they're playing a little bit too and prepare that extra week. They're going to need that without the quarterback who they were expecting to have going into it.
Do you guys think Johan can get the job done
against Tiraso?
I guess. I mean, to get the job done to win the
league.
Yeah,
that's a tougher ask. I think he has enough to get it done against Tiraso.
But not Karlstad, who they almost did beat. If we go back to that game, like Karlstad didn't come out and like blank them and just beat the crap out of them. What was it, like 21-7 at the end or something like that?
That's not. But what Karlstad goes against like good teams, that's not their MO. Is spanking you.
Again, that's what I'm saying though, is that even in this last game, we just seen Karlstad go against Örebro. They didn't like just put it on them. They beat them because they're a better team. And that's kind of what they did against Stockholm as well, is they beat them, but they're not going to put up 100 on a good team. But the thing is, in both of those games, a little bit here, a little bit there. Again, I go back to the coaching in those situations. Like if you do this in this situation, it could change, but will you be able to? And a lot that we haven't seen so far is that the only way to actually make that change and do something there is to do it, and no one's done it. Tiraso didn't do it. Stockholm didn't do it. Örebro didn't do it. All three of those games against Karlstad are close. I don't care what the score said. All three of those games are close.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how Costa is going to look their first game after a month break. I know all of your injured players, they get time to heal up and rest up. Any nicks and bruises, you get time to heal up and rest up, and you get a lot of practice and everything like that. But you still have a month off before your next game. I'm very curious to see how they're gonna, because this last game you got the win, but it wasn't to the Costa standard that in which we've been seeing all year. You know what I mean? They had 4 turnovers. It was kind of just getting the job done. I didn't see that dominant team that I saw in all the previous weeks, minus the Tiraso game, because that was kind of messy.
You know what I would like to see Karlstad come out in the playoffs? Some red unis, red on red, baby.
They do have that.
Haven't they done black on red, white on red?
Yeah. But they haven't won that red though.
Well, that's what I want to see. I want to see the red on red. That's what I was saying. I haven't seen red on red this year, right? I think I've seen it in the past.
I just feel like they're black just makes them feel more dominant.
I want to see red on red.
Maybe for the championship game.
I want to see red on red. Yeah, that'd be cool too, man. I just throwing it out there. I think it'd be cool. But playoffs wise, just getting back into the standings a little bit. So we're looking at AIK. Their future is in their hands this week and next week. If they win any of them games, they're good, right?
They're going home. This is going to age very well. They're going home. They're not making the playoffs.
AIK is not making the playoffs.
So to be clear, ICOR, they have 2 more games obviously left, and one of them is against the Vikings.
Yep.
And the last one is against who?
They have their next game is against Örebro, and I think their last game is against the Vikings.
Yeah, they have Örebro coming up, and we're going to talk about that here in a second. And then they have the Vikings in the last game.
Yeah.
So it's possible they can win one of those games.
They've only scored more than 7 points in their first game of the season. After that, it was 8-0, 7 or 6-7. They don't score points. They're not just gonna magically figure it out in this week and then be able to score 20 plus points against Örebro with Sebastian Nielsen on that defense. I mean, maybe it depends on how Örebro plays, but I don't see them putting up more than 14 points. And then against the Vikings, I'm sorry, you're definitely not putting up more than 7 points against them.
Yeah. I mean, I don't see it either. You know what I mean? I don't. I had them finishing last, but they're not going to finish last anymore.
Yeah, no, they're not going to finish last, but they're definitely.
Why they not going to finish last?
The Griffins are going to be last.
Say what now? Hold on.
Well,
now. Hold
the
on.
only way they actually, you know what? If
they can finish last if they don't win any more games.
If they don't want to win any more games, and the Griffins win,
play close.
They do finish last.
Yeah. It'll be by points.
I don't see the Griffins beating the Predators.
I know. Like at first, we thought the Griffins were the thing because they beat the Black Knights.
Yeah,
but
they look different at that time. They look much different now.
They look way different. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, they all thinking. I mean, it's still a fight at the bottom. You know, it's still a fight at the bottom. So we'll see what happens.
Okay, no, they just up there. Okay, they updated. Yeah. Okay. So the meme machines have more rushing yards than AIK has in total offense.
I don't want to hear these stats, man. The stats are tough.
And then take that shirt off.
Yeah,
I like my shirt, man. Like I said, great hospitality.
Yeah, I know, great. But look, they're last in total offense. They're last in passing offense. They're third from the bottom in rushing offense. They scored the least points at 9.8 points per game, and they have the ball. They have the ball majority of the time out of anybody else. So you have the ball longer than any other team, and you can't score.
That's because they take a long time to call the plays, man.
That's
they be in there, they in there like, what should we do?
Good. Well, figure it out sooner. And
trying to think about it. It just take a little while for them to get on the field. They just out there trying to live. I agree, though. I don't see AIK in the playoffs, but I don't want to see the Predators or the Griffins in the playoffs.
I don't want to see any of them in the playoffs.
I like all three of them to go home and think about what they've done to us this year. Go home and think about it.
I mean, there's so many questions to be asked. Like, out of those last three teams at the bottom, which team will give the best fight in the playoffs?
They're just fattening up a pig for the slaughterhouse in the first round of the playoffs.
That's what's super interesting. Out of the three teams, I like AIK's defense the best out of the three teams, but I don't like their offense at all.
Well, yeah,
like you said, they don't score points.
Yeah,
but their defense isn't bad. But it's one of the things where if you don't score points, eventually the other team just ends up with a lot of points.
Yeah.
And so when you're playing
the defense, which means your defense is what? How do you like their defense the most out of?
Well,
I like the Griffins defense a little bit better.
Well, I'm just saying I like AIK's defense if they had an offense, if that makes any sense, because it's a compliment game, and it's one of those situations where you can play good defense for as long as you want to. Eventually, the other team is going to score a whole lot of points if they constantly keep giving the ball to the other team every time. Too many opportunities. While when I look at, K-Town's defense, I just see people getting beat all the time. Like, I just see holes in what you can do. When I look at Griffin's defense, similar to AIK's, I think it's a good defense, but also there's not anything special about it that I feel like they can match up against a lot of teams. While I think like AIK's defense knows who they are and will try to play to their own strengths, if that makes any sense. I think their depth is their biggest issue, that they can't go 4 quarters. But with those other two teams, I got no hope for you on defense. But again, my football philosophy is you got to be able to score to win. And out of all these teams, I hate to say it, but K-Town is probably the only one that has the opportunity to score. But if we look at all three teams, neither one of them is going to score more than 2 touchdowns.
I mean,
against anybody else.
Look, the team that's waiting for these three teams is either Tyresö or Stockholm. You know, like that's who's waiting for you after this in the first round of the playoffs. Tyresö or Stockholm.
I don't think either one of these teams match up good against those two teams.
Yeah. But I like the Predators probably best in the playoffs. If I answer the question, like
Predators,
yeah,
Predators. I do. I mean, I thought it would be the Griffins,
Yeah,
but now I'm leaning more towards the Predators.
I got
I
a
mean, I
bias
just like
against the Predators because of the stream and not being able to see the players. That
But
upsets me still.
the stream is going to be in Stockholm, so it's going to be
yeah,
Stockholm. Okay. Well,
they're
then
going to
that's
have that high quality stream
yeah,
replays
yeah.
and
3
everything.
cameras. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
yeah, but they need to figure out. I know they had Jacob in that quarterback, but they need to figure out a little bit more because at a certain point during the game against Oslo, it became okay, run right, run left, run right, run left, and I was just like, bro, skip, 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 and then Will was just like tackle you left, tackle you right,
Yeah,
tackle you
tap
left,
your left,
tackle
tap your right.
The Griffins.
The Predators.
Predators.
You have to find another offensive weapon
Yeah,
besides number 2, Jacob Stenberg, and that's the issue that they have. Which again, is why they don't score a lot of points is because he can't throw it to himself.
The Griffins played against Oslo this weekend, not the Predators.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I mean, yeah, against TSL, it was
Yeah,
run left, run right. Yeah,
yeah,
so
man,
that's
yeah. So Oslo, they got the similar colors.
yeah, yeah, my
Touche.
yeah,
They do have similar colors.
yeah,
You're right.
yeah.
Red and
But
white.
yeah, it was TSL, yeah, but it became run left and run right, and I was just like, they know. I if I'm on defense, I was like, well, boys, they're either going to run this way or that way. Let's be there.
But that's also
That's
a good
football.
thing to
You
say
don't know where
too,
they
though.
running.
Going into, I know we're not talking about it on this show, and actually got to move on to the actual game. But going into
Yeah,
that last week, also Vikings defense ain't nothing to be worried about. Like you said it, Will Saul. Yeah, we gotta stay away from him. Find a
they
way
were
to avoid
scared of
him.
him.
Yeah, if you could avoid him, you got a chance. I still have zero faith in Oslo's defense outside of number 1. So
Yeah,
that
you got
gives Predators the best chance to get into the playoffs out of all these teams,
yeah,
if that's who they end up playing at some point. But that's not who they're playing, right? They're playing against the Griffins.
no, last game, yeah.
AIK
Yeah.
is playing against Oslo that last week. Look, we got to get off of this because we're getting confused now. I'm getting really confused. Let's move a little bit. We'll take a break and then talk about this week's game, which is only one game. Okay, so this week's game we have AIK at 1-4 versus OBK at 2-4 as they fight for, I guess, 5th or 6th place in the playoffs. We're going to talk about keys to victory and what can happen for these teams to be successful in this game. I won't talk about a preview. I'm not going to write a preview on this. That'd be crazy. Let's go AIK first. Antoine, you can go first. What can AIK do to beat the Örebro Black Knights? Juice, you can go.
Yeah.
Sorry, because
Yeah, I'm gonna take over this one.
Don't say pray.
Nah, I'm not even gonna say that. You know, I think there's a few things that's possible for them. You know, one, they gotta have some type of control over Vasey when it comes to defense. Defensively, we know that Vasey loves to play backyard football, and sometimes he doesn't even need to do it. And also, it's a threat of him even running the ball. But the receiving core that they need to circle both of the brothers. Sometimes when Murphy is on offense, they got to circle him as well. They need to play something where they keeping the ball in front of them, because I think it was number 27 is they got home safe for what Örebro need to do. They need to attack him. But 27 is not like he's horrible. You just need to keep the ball in front and keep, leverage, as all the DBs should do. I mean, offensively, they show some things that I like, when I said like teams are playing as a whole. Like they have a bit of grit, they going for the ball on 4th down, but they are not on their first drive. I don't think for the last couple of games, they have not been stopped. Like having 3 and outs. They have not had 3 and outs on the first couple of drives. So that's promising. So that means that they can move the ball. They just have to bring the confidence and play a balanced offense like what they did one game where we thought, whoa, when they played against Tirso, we was like, wow, they actually can do this. They was running the ball, passing the ball, running the ball. And the key thing for them, and I would just say this for the offense, is they can't get in like 3rd and long, 2nd and long situations.
Yeah,
Or
gotta
just
stay
lose
in
off
front
the
of
game
the
plan.
sticks.
Yeah.
Gotta stay in front of the sticks.
So offensively, stay in front of the sticks. Defensively, keep the ball in front, because Örebro they haven't proven that they have a consistent run game. Keep the ball in front and make the tackles when it comes your way.
What about you, Antoine? What do you think AIK has to do to get victory in this one?
They have to score points defensively. I mean, their defense is their primary. That's the strongest part of their team right now. So their defense has to show up ready to play.
And some trick plays. And some
And
trick plays. That's how they lost to the Griffins. Take
yes,
notes.
yeah. So they and then offensively, like you said, like they do move the ball, but the issue is they move the ball to with no reward. They don't put up points on the board. So you have to play with a sense of urgency. This comes from the coaching staff. This comes from the players on both sides, on all sides of the ball, and take advantage of that special teams too. Like make sure you're securing the ball in special teams because Edvin is coming. He's going to hit you hard, and that's where he's forced the most fumbles I think this year is on special teams. So protect the ball. I guess try to keep their offense off the field for as long as possible, and then just extend your drives, run smart plays, run efficient plays. If something's worked, try it again for a next play, but then have a very detailed script from start to finish of the game about what we're gonna do, and just practice it all week, and hammer it down, and make sure it's shit that works for you. And then because it's coming to the end, I've already written this team off for making the playoffs. Prove me wrong, please. Please prove me wrong. So you got something to lose. You have the most to lose out of the bottom three teams. Like, you're in the playoffs right now. You have to win one of these games. You have to.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be real. They're really only in the playoffs technically because they play less games, so they have a lower like points per. But yeah, for AIK to win this game, it's very simple for me. They have to play better football, and when I say that, I mean even looking at the last couple games they played offensively. Oh, they're moving the ball, but they're not scoring. You know why they're not scoring? Drop passes, bad throws, missed assignments, penalties at inopportune times when you can't afford that because you're on the cusp of taking a sack and getting into third and long or second and long situations. And these are things that are mostly it's just football. It's not like I'm not gonna say that they're similar to Örebro in the fact that, when they get to the red zone, they don't call the right plays. No, they call a good play, but then they get a false start
Yep.
or call the right play, and for some reason the receiver can't catch a 3-yard flat, or they call a good play and all of a sudden the quarterback can't throw a 5-yard hitch, like it hits the dirt instead of hitting the receiver, or if it does hit the receiver, it hits him in the chest and then goes to the ground. Like that's what's bad about AIK is that they're not very good football players when they need to be, and in this game you need to fix those things. And the only way you could do that is go back to work, practice, and try again. I think in this game, if they just play better football, if
Yeah.
those types of mistakes don't happen, they can compete in this game. But if they play like they've been playing all season, which is what we can really expect from them, I mean, you're not a good enough team. And that's something that I think a lot of people just aren't doing in the Swedish league is people aren't just holding themselves accountable for, hey, you don't catch well enough. Hey, you don't throw well enough. Hey, you don't block well enough. Instead,
Very
they're
true.
blame something else. And AIK is a perfect example of a good team, but they're not as good as most of the teams they played against. But again, Division One would be fine. But you're in the Super Serien, you're going to play a team that is Super Serien ready. Every time you drop a pass, that is you not being good enough. That's not, well, it slipped out my hand or it would no. If you a drop's a drop, a bad throw is a bad throw. A false start is a false start. That's a mental mistake, which means you mentally are not strong enough or not good enough. That's what that is. And AIK, they haven't accepted that yet. I think that's why they have this AIK versus everybody mentality is they haven't accepted that they're not that good of a team. And this is a game where you have to be a better team than you've been. So the only way to prove me wrong, prove Antoine wrong, is to be a better team. If you're not a better team, you will lose. And I think that if they are a better team, they'll actually beat this team. Örebro is beatable, but you have to be better than them to beat them. When Limham played them, they were better that day. Only that day, not the rest of the season, but only that day they were the better team. And that's what happens in football. The better team wins. AIK is not proven to be the better team yet. But again, keys to victory, play better football. Okay. Moving on to OBK, Juice, what do they need to do to get the win?
I think that OBK. I don't even like saying OBK.
It's just what I say. I don't
Yeah.
I don't I don't like my Swedish. I don't
Hey,
like that the O is pronounced with a U or
no,
brew. I don't.
it's just that one. It's just that one. But anyways, though, moving forward, this game, how they treated the game against the Griffins, they
Mm,
can't show up in that type of way. They can't. They have to be on their toes for trick plays. You know, obviously, Örebro is the better team. They have way better playmakers. Essentially, they just need to just do what I say for all the dominant teams: show up and play football. I mean, I
I,
don't see
I
why.
don't. I don't know about just show up. Like they showed up against
They don't have
Linehan,
that.
and
Yeah,
they didn't
yeah,
look
yeah,
talented.
yeah. But I'm saying like when this one, they're the dominant team. They are the dominant team.
They're the better team.
Okay.
Let's keep it 100. Orbrew has not been dominant at
Yeah,
all
but
this year.
all right,
They
all
had
right.
one game. They had one game
Which game
I'll
was
give you
that?
one game. Yeah,
against the Predators when it was like
yeah,
40 something to 6 or something like that, right? Or 2.
yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah. Well,
Maybe they were
look,
dominant
all right.
in
Look,
that game.
Örebro is the better team, and
Yes.
they. I mean, I'm glad that Evans back. You know, making plays on the field. I hope his brother comes back for the playoffs. He played in one game. Hope he comes back for the playoffs, and that'll make them a whole lot tougher. You know, just adding him. He scored a touchdown in the offense. You know what I mean? The Janssen brothers, I mean, Johannes, like the Linnaeus brothers, you know, the Murphy. I mean, the Murphy. He's probably his brother's not gonna come back, but you know, they got a family oriented. That's a team right there. That's family right there. But anyways, play like you playing for your family. You
I
win
like
this
that.
football game. I got you. I'm gonna end with that. I think that was a little good point right there.
Yeah,
What about you, Antoine?
I'm gonna pick up right where you left off. Yeah, like Drew said, like your family, like y'all are brothers. Your whole families, your entire families are involved in both organizations. So like, play like that. Play the same game that you played against the Predators. Like, start getting to that playoff mindset right now. Have a sense of urgency, and just be more focused in this game. Show up ready, focus on your P's and Q's, and get out there and get the job done. I need another dominant performance, and because this is their last game, right? I think.
Yeah.
So this is your last game of the season. So right now, start building those blocks to get ready for the playoffs. Right now, flip the switch right now. Go playoff mode right now, and just get in that mindset right now. Go out there, dominate this game, and keep it rolling, because they're gonna be in the 4th spot. So you have the Vikings in the next round, and they're coming ready to play. And you can't afford to make mental mistakes if you intended on making a playoff run to the final. So get in that mindset right now. Your playoff starts this week, and continue to the potential championship game.
That makes sense. It's now or never, fellas. Now or never. Yeah, I mean, you're already in playoff mode. For me, OBK, they have to play dominant defense. Offensively, you're gonna get your points. I mean, when you're playing against AIK, give it some time. You'll end up getting your points. But defensively, you need to let them know that they're not gonna win. Let them know very early that you do not have a chance in this game. Create turnovers, stifle their offense, make their offense give up. I believe AIK's offense is okay, but if they don't have any success early, they're gonna fold like a lawn chair. Like that's what you're gonna do. You're gonna fold them up. Let them know you can't run, you can't pass, and they're gonna be like, "What do we do?" What you're gonna do is you're gonna go 3 plays and you're gonna punt, and then we're gonna take the ball and we're gonna score a touchdown. If you put that in their mind early in the game, I don't think they're mentally strong enough to come back from that. I don't think they're going to make the adjustments they need to. And if you're able to do that, the game is over in the first, second quarter, and I don't have to watch the second half. So OBK, do your thing and play good defense. Create turnovers, play dominant defense. The rest will work itself out. That's how I feel about it. Any last words on this game before we move on and start talking about the picks?
Nah, yeah, come on, the Black Knights. We saw y'all do it, man. They hit the rolling clock on the Predators with 10 minutes left in the second quarter. Come on, we've seen you be dominant. So be that team.
Be that team.
Because I don't want to watch a whole game.
Yeah, I don't want to watch more than 2 quarters. That's all I want. I got a lot of things to do this weekend.
Drip, grind, and stand out. That's the Improved Athletes way. Improved Athletes, a European sports brand based in Milano. If you want to look good, and be successful in athletics? Go and head over to improveathletes.com to stand out with your new drip.
All right, welcome to the fourth quarter. Somehow we still end up going over on time. Picking winners of football is not easy, but we're going to put our picks out here anyways. Brought to you by our partners at Improve Athletes, where you can grind, drip, and stand out. Our one pick, I guess, will be available on Instagram at Pro Football Sweden, where you can make your comments. No need to flood the DMs. So let's just get right into it. AIK versus Örebro Black Knights. I feel like we all have the same pick, so I'm just going to jump in and say that we're all picking OBK. Let's explain our reasons why, if we can. Antoine, I'll let you go first.
Because they're better.
Juice?
Because I picked Oikor last week to make an upset, and they did not do that. I was hoping, I was watching the ELF games, so I couldn't even tune in. And then I just seen that it was like a donut at some point, and then the scores just got higher and higher. But yeah, the reason why I'm going Örebro is because Örebro is better.
Look, I also understand that I've been saying OBK enough that Juice almost saying it. He's like, well, I don't want to say that, but I keep saying it, so you keep wanting to say it because I say it. So
Yeah.
that's how you become an influencer, guys. I'm influencing Juice, as we talk about on the show. I'm also going with OBK because, they're the better team. But I do want to shout out to AIK that, I appreciate the hospitality. I think y'all are, great people. But on the football field, you're not good enough in this game, and you're going to take an L. It is what it is. I think, is that it for this? Yeah. So I guess we go to overtime.
Hey there, sports fans. Are you interested in exciting sports of American football, flag football, or field hockey? Well, look no further, because Sweet 3, the sweetest association for these sports, has got you covered. Sweet 3 is not just about games. They're about building a community, players of all ages and backgrounds coming together, supporting each other, and having an absolute blast on the field. Sweet 3 is proud to be an advocate for the Swedish sports movement, where integrity and sportsmanship reign supreme. So whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, come join Sweet 3 and experience the magic of sports like never before. Visit the Sweet 3 website and get in on the action today. Sweet 3, where passion meets purpose.
All right, that's it for this episode of Pro Football in Sweden. Anything we missed that needs to be discussed, Juice? Anything you want to throw out there? It's overtime.
Yeah, man, I'm missing my boy Kennedy. Like, what's up? Where he at? What's going on? Anybody know what's the word on Kennedy?
I don't know.
I'm missing him on the football field. I was like, oh man, I can't wait to see Kennedy dominate. Can't wait to see Kennedy run. Can't wait to see Kennedy jogging on the football field. Man, then I'm not seeing too much swagginess on the football field. You was up there in person. Did you see some swag?
Not much. Most of the AIK guys look like they was just trying to make it, and then the Stockholm guys, they were scoring, but they ain't want to be out there neither. They was like, man, this is ridiculous. I don't know if anybody saw. I interviewed Casper Wedberg, and I remember I talked to him before we did the interview, and he was like, yeah, I was just catching kicks, and then all of a sudden they were putting me in the game. It's like I thought I was gonna have like a light work day. Next thing I know, 74-yard touchdown. They didn't want to be out there. I was like, this is ridiculous. And it was hot, so I don't know if that had something to do with it. People just didn't want to do it. Everybody was eating ice creams though, so that was cool.
Yeah, some teams were eating donuts. Nah, but I just want to see some more. I want to see some more drip on the field. I want to see that. And as I say every week, your film is your resume, and put good things on film as far as your swag.
Yeah. Antoine, anything you want to throw out there?
I know we don't cover this league, but in the women's Division 1 league, we had a player, Linnea Luke. She broke her back in a game against Costa. So yeah, just wanted to shout out Linnea. I saw an update that she was at home and that she's walking now. But if the GoFundMe is still up, I'm pretty sure we can post the GoFundMe. I know they hit their goal with the GoFundMe, but still, man, if you see it, still donate, man, because she has a long road to recovery. So we just want to show our support and let her know that we did.
Hey, my heart is for it. I'm gonna say a prayer for it.
Yeah.
Y'all over. Y'all be here for day.
Yeah, and it's really cool that they were able to reach their goals so quickly with the GoFundMe and stuff. So that's a lot of support from the football community. I heard about that as well. Don't know about this personal situation, but for me, I mean, I feel like I should have had something to say, but I already talked enough about my AIK venture, so I ain't gonna keep hitting y'all with that. I feel like I had something to say about overtime, but I don't remember what it was. So what I'm gonna say is I know we're getting towards the end of the season, which is crazy because everybody only play each other once. So as we get towards the end of the season, don't forget that football in Finland ain't even halfway done yet. So if you want to hop on over to American football in Finland, you can hear some more of my takes, a little bit better takes, actually. I can tell you truthfully, only because, the teams do a little bit more and the streams are more consistent. You don't have to turn your neck to watch the film. The commercials are okay. They're not going to skip plays and things like that. No disrespect to Sweden, but definitely disrespect to the teams individually that are doing the streams. And if you still like football and you want to hear or see something about football in Europe, American football in Finland is still ongoing. We put out shows every Tuesday and Wednesday. I'm gonna just do my shameless plug. You can also hear about Jalo Juice and how his team is doing out there in Finland. And I won't speak too much on it on this show because he know what it is. But yeah, that's gonna be my overtime. I didn't say nothing negative or positive about Jalo's team over there. So I think that's it. Let me do my little outro. Good luck to the two teams that'll be playing this week. I guess everybody who's having a bye week, take care of yourselves, stay healthy. Hopefully everybody's prepared for that last week of games, and that should be an interesting weekend of games. So good luck to AIK and OBK this weekend, and we'll be back next week with more insights and opinions. Please like, follow, and subscribe on all social channels at Pro Football Sweden. And we're out. See you next week.
Peace out, guys.
Later.